Hey there, Kindle Kids. This is Mr. King with another art project for you. This is for a lot of the grade levels, and it's a great one, I think, right before break. Expectations change according to grades, but the big thing I want to let you know is the thing you really want to have for this, if possible, is oil pastels. If you have oil pastels, that's awesome. Now, if you don't, one thing I'll tell you is if you happen to have black construction paper, any really dark black paper, colored pencils work for this. And if you still don't have any of those things, you can still do this project with even just doing it in marker. It's really more about the thought behind it, but I think it looks best. We're exploring pastels as a medium. If you need to too, if you happen to have them, construction paper crayons, these black wrappered crayons are really good. The same way they work almost just like oil pastels. And if you had to, regular crayons will do relatively well on any lighter colored construction paper. So without any further ado, let's do what we're gonna do. So I want to point out this shape right here. This pancake is actually called the ellipse, and that's what's written right on here. And so I made tracers for the kids because drawing an ellipse can be pretty difficult. Now, if you don't have the ability to do that, what I would do is have your parent help you and literally just draw a pancake, okay? And if you feel adventurous on your own, take your pencil, press down lightly, and just keep drawing that pancake shape until it gets where you want it to, and then go darker where you like the lines, all right? But we're trying to make that pancake, and what you're gonna wanna do is put it about the 2/3 of the way up in the middle of your page, and we are going to trace around that. So I'm gonna use a pencil here. Hopefully you guys can see it well on camera. I'm gonna try to press down relatively hard so you can. And I'm gonna go around my ellipse tracer. Now the nice thing is, no matter where I put my lines here and how badly I mess up, there's no big deal. We're gonna be okay because I'm not gonna even see these pencil lines when I'm all done, okay? So there is my ellipse. You can faintly see it up here. It's that pancake shape and it's on the paper. Now we're looking at the work of Thiebaud. And forgive me if I mess up his name because I haven't heard it pronounced properly for a long time, and I think I'm now mispronouncing it. But he's a really famous painter who works actually and draws desserts. He focuses on that. So right in time for the Thanksgiving holiday, we are gonna make our own dessert drawings. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our ellipse, our pancake, and we're gonna come straight down from that spot we got. Now we're gonna make a cake here. And so the size of your cake, or you could make a pie if you wanted to out of this, the size of our cake or pie in terms of height of the cake is determined by how far down we pull this ellipse, this second piece right here. So we're gonna come down, let's go about halfway down, about that lower third of the paper, and we are going to trace just the bottom half of the ellipse. Now if you wanna know where that is, you just go right out from the edge of your pancake, make a little mark, and then draw a line tracing the bottom of the ellipse and connecting them. Boop, there we go. So you guys can now see I've got my full ellipse up top and I've got my half ellipse on bottom. Tongue-tied. So I'm going to now connect the sides of my half ellipse, I cannot say that, and my full ellipse up here. And boom, let's do one right here. Now if you want to use a ruler or straight edge to do this, that is fine. I'm just freehanding it because I don't mind if it's not perfect. It's a cake, so it's not going to be perfect anyways. So this is going to become, if you can see this, a cylinder, all right? And that is what we want for our cake, because cakes tend to be cylindrical. Now I wanna make this a lot more interesting. So what I'm gonna do is right in the center of my ellipse right here, I'm going to make a dot. You guys see I put that right in the middle of my pancake up top? And from there, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw one line that comes out kind of diagonally from the dot here, and one that comes diagonally down over here. I'm gonna make a wedge. Okay, and from either one of these lines, what I need to do is draw a line where they connect to the circle or the ellipse here, straight down, whoop, boop, like that. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. And what I'm trying to do is to make a piece cut out of my cake. You guys see it so far? So here's the wedge that I made on top, and as soon as it hits the ellipse, those lines come straight down. They don't come sideways, they don't come diagonally, they come straight down. And so the next and really important part to finish the illusion here of making this cake look like it's got a wedge cut out of it is you guys see this upper angle here, this one that we've just made at the top, you have to try to get that same angle. So what I like to do is take my pencil and line it up on that diagonal line on that top piece, and I'm gonna drag that same diagonal down all the way until I hit the bottom of that outside line. And watch this. Redraw that line right there. And now if I erase the part of my ellipse here and down here between that wedge that I cut out, I think you guys will be able to see that I now have a cake with a slice cut out of it. Now I'm ready for my color, and this is where it's a lot of fun, really kind of free-flowing. So what I like to do personally for mine is, because I'm working on black paper, I'm gonna use a white to put down kind of like a base coat. So I'm gonna not go all the way up to the edges of the lines, I'm gonna leave a little bit of space, but I'm just gonna use some white here. And the reason I do that is because it makes the pastels even lighter in those spaces, and I think it really ends up looking sugary and kind of like frosting, because sugar automatically has a fair amount of white opacity to it, meaning like you can't quite see through it. So that helps make a little bit more of that sugary, frosting feeling. It feels like there's just buttercream all over this thing. All right. So once I've gotten my nice little layer of white done, and I'm using the side of my pastel here, it's broken, and you can break pastels if you need to work with them. And I'm just kind of blocking out that area of white. All right, so now the next thing I'll do is I'm actually gonna take a dark blue here, and I'm actually gonna go over my lines. And why I'm not doing it in black is simply because I think this blue is gonna make a more interesting color to do our outlining with. So I'm just gonna go over these lines in my blue, all of the lines that I made in pencil. And remember, I told you it didn't matter if you made a mistake with your pencil, because you're gonna go over them anyway, so who cares? And again, don't worry about the lines on the outside either, because we're gonna do kind of a background color here too. All right, now we're getting a little bit closer. So now I gotta also decide what's going on the inside of my cake. Do I have some sort of flavored frosting? So I'm gonna say this one is gonna happen to have this like green frosting on the interior. So I'm just gonna make these two diagonal stripes that follow the same path I did up here. And that's gonna make it look like that wedge going back. And we can use, let's say, yellow kind of between them to make it like a yellowy cake on the inside. I don't even know what flavors I want here. Let's say it's like lemon lime. I don't know, something strange. People don't usually have a lemon lime cake. Why not? Do something crazy for your holidays. Like, oh, you guys ever had a lemon bar before? They're really good. I know lemon's not always the flavor you get in desserts, but I'm telling you, lemon bars, it's like lemony, creamy, delicious. Really good. Let me tell you all about these desserts so we can be hungry while we work. Anyways, there, I filled in my frosting, or my cake on the interior. I got my green frosting there. I might go back over my green a little bit to make sure that really pops out and looks good. And go kind of around the outside edges here too. And don't be afraid to blend and layer your pastels. It really looks nice that way. Very cool. Now I'm actually gonna go back in. I really like how that white looks against it, so I'm gonna go back in with my white. I'm gonna press down a little harder this time, more towards the end of my white. And I'm gonna work some colors into this. So let's get my white done a little bit more, because I like how that looks and how bright it is on the outside, and how sugary that feels. And then we can decide what's going on with other colors in there. You know what? What I also want to do is show you how good this looks when we add a little bit of light and shadow. So for the older kids in the group, the younger guys, you go right ahead. You color this as crazy as you want it to be. If you've done what I've showed you so far, you're already well above kind of the skill level of showing three-dimensional forms. If you just want to stick with two ellipses and make it a cylindrical cake and work from there and just add some cool frosting decorations, do it. If you're on my older end of kids here, I'd love to have you guys try this out. We're gonna try to add a little bit of light and shadow to this thing. So what I want you to do is on the outside edge here on the left, we're gonna choose a color that we're gonna use for our shadow. So I'm gonna stick with that blue because I think that's nice and dark and it feels like shadow. Oops, I actually broke my blue. And you're just gonna go right over the outside edge with that blue. Do not go over your ellipse up here because that's gonna be catching light, so we're not gonna worry about it. And we're just gonna make a piece of shadow, kind of like a rectangle that carries down around the side. It's kind of a bent rectangle. And what we can then do is we can just kind of feather that into the white by pressing lighter as we go around. We make this beautiful blue shadow. We're gonna say this is like a blueberry frosting, blueberry vanilla frosting on a lemon lime cake. I don't know, sounds crazy, but it works. And if you want to, you can do just a little bit of a shadow on this side, not too much. And look at that, that's looking like a really nice cake right now, right? And then I'm gonna go in here with this peach color because I think it looks really good. And I'm gonna say this is a little bit of the color for our light. So I'm gonna put that right on the top here. And again, you can really use any light color you want. I do like the white and the peach and whatnot for kind of that sugary feeling of the cake. And I'm just really working my pastels right up to those edges that I've created. Now, if you happen to go over an edge too far, don't be afraid to grab that darker color. And you guys can see, like right up here, I went over the edge. I'm gonna grab my blue. I'm gonna go back in and redraw those outlines. And you're gonna wanna do that anyways. Okay? So redo those outlines for sure, no matter what, because it really makes it look good. And the whole objective here is to basically color it in so you can't really see any of the paper underneath in those spaces. Okay? So we're just about there. We've just basically done it. I think this cake is looking pretty amazing right now. And then, finally, we can have some fun with the background, maybe some details that we want to make. So here's my cake so far. I'm loving it. We're almost out of time for our video, so I'm just going to try to kind of speed this up real quick. I might even speed the video up to make it work, so don't be afraid if that happens. But I'm just going to do this light blue background here. And what I'm actually going to do is at the bottom here, I'm doing the light blue. I'm just going to kind of make this table that's going to fade away. Watch this, I'm gonna go right here and make a line going across, and that's where my table is that my cake is sitting on. And you don't need to color all the way out to the outside edges. You can just kind of let it stop part of the way. And you know what we want? We're gonna do some high contrast here, and we're gonna do a maybe red or a pink background. Let's do pink. Well, I don't have a pink over here, so I'm gonna do red. I forgot to grab the pink off the table. So sometimes you're do a thinner color palette. Now I could blend colors to make it, but I'm not gonna mess with that right now because A, I don't have enough time to do my video, and B, I just don't wanna. Maybe I'll just put a little white back here later because red is looking real dark on the black. And here's my red background. And I think you guys can see pretty nice looking cake here. Breaking all my pastels here. It's the power that I'm pressing down with. And you know what? I do think that red's too dark, so last move, let's get some orange and go into that. Lighten that up a little bit. Maybe I'll even grab some yellow. Kind of work those warm colors into the background against my blue cake and my blue table. Color temperature is important. You should know that. And there we go. Look at that nice looking cake. So that's my Wien Thiebaud cake. One other quick pro tip for you guys. If you want to get something cool happening here, don't be afraid to take that pencil and you can actually rework some of these edges here. Now watch this. What the pencil does is it scrapes through and it gets rid of some of the pastel and it works back into the paper. So if you want a bit of a black, crisp outlined line, you can take your pencil and you just give it a little bit of pressure and you can work that right into paper here. Now it will cause what we call pilling, which is those little bits of the pastel coming off, so you just want to brush those off as you go along. Again, I would make sure that you have a relatively clean working space so you're not doing that like into your mom and dad's carpet. But yeah, it's a nice way to get a little bit more of a defined edge here. So that is it, guys. Fairly simple. Just fun to make. And if you want to now, you can get in there, you can use some other colors, and you can add some cool designs into the frosting, make flowers, make little looping, stuff, whichever one you want. I've shown kids how to make like candles before, but we're out of time, so let's wrap it up. I'll see you guys next time. Make these Wien Thiebaud cakes, enjoy it, have some dessert here with your Thanksgiving meals, and happy Thanksgiving to you, happy holidays. I'll see you guys later.